Hollywood is often viewed as a magical land of fame and fortune. But what happens when the fame turns tragic?
Imagine being at the height of fame, living the life many can only dream of. And then, suddenly, your world ends. But what if that sudden end wasn't an accident, wasn't just a tragedy, but a carefully planned murder? From iconic musicians to legendary actors, some of the most shocking celebrity deaths have left us with more questions than answers. Was it a deadly conspiracy, a power play, or simply a coincidence? Stick around as we uncover the dark and twisted details behind some of the most suspicious celebrity deaths, where the truth may be far darker than we ever imagined. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe's death in 1962 has long been surrounded by mystery, with many questioning whether it was truly a suicide or something more sinister. Monroe, one of Hollywood's biggest stars, was found dead in her home from an apparent overdose of barbiturates. However, her sudden death raised many eyebrows, especially considering her connections with powerful figures, including the Kennedy family. Some conspiracy theorists suggest that Monroe was murdered to silence her, as she was rumored to have had relationships with both John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert, and was allegedly aware of some dangerous political secrets. The idea of her being intentionally silenced by those in power has fueled speculation for decades, especially considering the lack of a thorough investigation into her death. Adding to the mystery is the strange nature of the scene surrounding her death. Her housekeeper reportedly found Monroe's body, but there were discrepancies in the timeline of events, such as missing phone call records and an unusual delay in notifying authorities. Monroe's psychiatrist's notes were also mysteriously destroyed, adding to the suspicion that something was being covered up. The fact that she was found in a secluded area with no signs of struggle further points to the possibility that she may have been murdered, rather than having died by her own hand. Despite the official cause being ruled as an overdose, the circumstances surrounding Monroe's death have left many unanswered questions, with theories ranging from a politically motivated murder to a tragic accident orchestrated by those close to her.
Heath was found dead in his Manhattan apartment, a victim of an accidental overdose of prescription.
Tupac Shakur. Tupac Shakur's death in 1996 remains one of the most controversial celebrity deaths in history, with many people believing it wasn't just a random drive-by shooting, but a targeted murder. Officially, Tupac was killed in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas, but there are several theories suggesting that his death was linked to the ongoing East Coast versus West Coast rap feud, or even deeper, to the music industry's dark side. Some speculate that Tupac's connection with Death Row Records and the powerful figures involved in the label put him in the crosshairs of people who saw him as a threat or an obstacle. The fact that Tupac had been shot previously, and the strange timing of his death just after a high-profile beef, only fueled these suspicions. Another popular theory is that Tupac faked his own death to escape the violent world he was part of, with evidence pointing to inconsistencies in the official narrative. There are claims that the police mishandled the investigation, and that key evidence was ignored or covered up. Even Tupac's own statements, which often hinted at his own mortality and the idea of leaving the public eye, have added fuel to these conspiracy theories. While the drive-by shooting itself was highly publicized, the case remains unsolved, with many feeling that there is more to the story than what was publicly revealed. Whether it was a targeted assassination or a deeper plot at play, Tupac's death continues to be a subject of much speculation and intrigue. The Notorious Big. The murder of the Notorious Big, also known as Biggie Smalls, in 1997 was officially ruled as a drive-by shooting, but many believe his death was directly tied to the murder of Tupac Shakur a year earlier. After Tupac's shooting, a retaliatory motive for Biggie's death seemed almost inevitable, especially given the highly publicized feud between East Coast and West Coast hip-hop artists at the time. The two rappers were seen as the respective faces of these rival factions, and many speculate that Biggie's murder was a result of the ongoing tension between the two coasts. However, some believe the situation was more complex, involving larger forces within the music industry, organized crime, and even law enforcement, all of which might have had their own reasons for wanting Biggie silenced. Despite multiple investigations into Biggie's murder, No one has ever been convicted, and the case remains unsolved, which has fueled conspiracy theories and suspicion. Some theories suggest that corrupt police officers may have played a role in Biggie's death, or that there was a deliberate cover-up by the authorities. Even more alarming are the allegations that key evidence was mishandled or intentionally ignored, leading many to believe that the murder was part of a larger, more systematic effort to control the outcome of the East Coast-West Coast feud. Whether it was a gang-related retaliation, an industry conspiracy, or an inside job, the mystery surrounding Biggie's death continues to spark heated debates, leaving fans and investigators alike questioning the truth behind his tragic end. Brittany Murphy. Brittany Murphy's sudden death in 2009 at the age of 32 shocked her fans and the Hollywood community, but it didn't take long for suspicion to grow surrounding the official cause of her death. The official ruling was that she died of pneumonia, anemia, and multiple drug intoxication, but many found these causes questionable, especially since she appeared to be in good health leading up to her death. Adding to the mystery, her husband, Simon Monjack, who had been living with her at the time, also died under very similar circumstances just months later, in May 2010. The striking similarity between their deaths raised further questions. Could they have both been poisoned, or was something more nefarious at play? Several conspiracy theories suggest that Brittany Murphy's death could have been a murder, possibly orchestrated due to her growing involvement in the entertainment industry's darker side. Some speculated that Monjack, who was reportedly in financial trouble and facing various personal issues, might have had a hand in her death. Others pointed to the possibility that Murphy's death was connected to her career and personal relationships, which had recently been strained. While official investigations have not found any concrete evidence of foul play, the odd timing of her and Monjack's deaths, coupled with the lack of clear answers, has led many to believe that there may have been a deliberate, sinister factor behind Brittany Murphy's untimely demise. Chris Cornell. Chris Cornell, the lead singer of Soundgarden and Audioslave, tragically passed away in 2017, with his death officially ruled as suicide by hanging. However, his passing raised immediate suspicions, particularly from his family and fans, who believed that it didn't fit the singer's personality or the circumstances. Hours before his death, Cornell had performed a concert in Detroit and appeared in good spirits, leaving many to question how he could have gone from performing energetically to taking his own life. Additionally, some felt that the timing of his death, which came shortly after a private conversation with his wife in which he reportedly sounded upbeat, seemed inconsistent with the idea of a sudden suicide. This led many to speculate that something more sinister was at play. One theory that has gained traction is the idea that Cornell's death might have been the result of foul play rather than suicide. Some believe that his involvement in certain activism and political causes, such as his support for the investigation into the deaths of other musicians and his outspoken views on certain issues, could have made him a target. The manner in which Cornell died, using a method that seemed highly controlled and precise, also raised suspicions. His family, particularly his wife, questioned the initial ruling and suggested that he may have been murdered or that his death was caused by an accidental overdose on prescription drugs that he had been prescribed. The unresolved questions surrounding Cornell's death continue to fuel speculation, with many unwilling to accept the suicide narrative without further investigation. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's death in 2009 shocked the world, and while the official cause was cardiac arrest induced by acute propofol intoxication, many people believe his death was not just a case of medical negligence, but a murder orchestrated by those around him. Jackson's personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was convicted of involuntary manslaughter for administering the fatal dose of propofol. But numerous conspiracy theories suggest that Jackson's death was part of a larger plot involving his finances, the music industry, and even people close to him. Some theorize that Jackson's health problems, combined with his increasing dependence on prescription drugs, made him vulnerable to being manipulated by those seeking to control his wealth or legacy. The rapid rise in his drug usage and the chaotic medical practices surrounding his treatment lead many to question whether it was an unfortunate accident or something more deliberate. There are also theories that suggest Jackson's death could have been a result of the larger forces within the entertainment industry, as he had recently been planning a major comeback tour and had significant financial debts. Some believe that certain individuals, either within his personal circle or the industry, might have seen Jackson as a liability and made arrangements for his death to settle financial issues or prevent him from speaking out secrets he had in the music business. The fact that Jackson's estate has continued to deal with legal battles, along with the peculiarities in the handling of his medical care and the aftermath of his death, continues to fuel the suspicion that there was more to his passing than a tragic overdose. Whether it was a result of negligence, conspiracy, or murder, Michael Jackson's death remains one of the most mysterious and hotly debated celebrity deaths in history. And that's a wrap on some of the most shocking celebrity deaths that may have been more than just tragic accidents. From Marilyn Monroe to Michael Jackson, the mysteries surrounding these high-profile deaths raise a lot of questions and continue to fuel conspiracy theories to this day. Whether it's due to shady industry connections, personal enemies, or hidden agendas, the truth behind these deaths is far from clear. What do you think? Were these celebrities victims of foul play, or is it just coincidence? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more intriguing stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.